Hello everyone. This is the second video of this series, and I'm going to show you how I made this right front door panel. As I figured, it had its challenges, and we'll go over that later. So let's get started. Like before, we're starting with a pattern I made of the opposite side. Now, since this is for the opposite side, the pattern needs to be laid out upside down from the way it was made. I'm comparing the pattern with the side panel that I made to make sure they line up perfectly, and surprised they don't. I'm using a straight edge to line up the top bead on both, and discovered the door gap gets progressively wider as it gets to the bottom. I marked with a piece of tape on the bottom where the door gap should be, and I'll have to mark it the same way on the opposite corner. Since with this panel the beads form a perimeter around the entire thing, I chose to mark out and roll all of them in one step. Next, I'm marking where the final cut will be with a pattern that I made from one of the rear doors. I'm choosing to cut it this close right now because the less metal that's on there, the easier it'll be to form the beads. And now it's time to form the vertical beads. Now, I didn't film this part because, reason being, it took several practice runs, I think about 7 tries before I figured out a technique on how to form the bead while curving the panel without distorting it elsewhere. And even after I figured it out, I wasn't sure if it would even work. So the next few steps I'm going to do over with a piece of scrap metal, and then we'll get back to this. I'm starting with forming the bead slightly with a pair of pliers. I can't use the brake on this because the panel curves. Now I'm running it through the roller again, only this time with somebody else turning it. I'm applying pressure to the panel, forcing it down, which progressively stretches out the center of the bead, which makes the panel want to curve without distorting it too much. Next, I'm running the edges through a shrinker to make them want to naturally curve in. This whole process is repeated several times until the curve is to the desired effect. I do the horizontal beads last, and instead of using the pattern, I compared with the side panel that I made and use that as a reference. This way I can assure that the panels will fit when installed. To sharpen the edge where the beads meet, I made this tool out of a few pieces and a lot of careful filing, and put a piece of scrap metal on top and hit it with a hammer a few times. This does the job very well. Next, I take a punch or a chisel or whatever this is and hit it right at the corner to put more of a crease into it. Okay, it's not perfect, but it came out way better than I expected. The beads came out a little shallower than I wanted them to, so I'm beating them out a little bit to make them a little more pronounced. I'm carefully tapping right in the center on top of the vise. The vise is opened up about the width of the bead and works good as an anvil. Now I'm running across the beads with a body file. This will file down the high spots. It'll also help to locate the low spots so they can be repaired if I care that much. Using a file is a very slow and careful process. It requires a lot of patience. And it's done. I like the other panels. It still could use a little fine tuning here and there. It's still kind of roughed out, and we're going to wait till the door frame is made and we start fitting all this stuff before we really get fussy with it. The last thing to do is notch out the front for the door hinge. Now, this is just kind of roughed out. It might not be in the right place. Now, the reason I'm not notching it out just yet is a new problem that I have. Now, when I first thought of this project, the 1913 open car door hinges were available new, and I planned to just buy them new. The problem is, between then and now, they've since been discontinued, or at least most of the parts houses are not carrying them anymore. I'll have to do more research. They might still be available somewhere, but I think they are discontinued. If that is the case, then I'm going to have to get clever. Now, if you're wondering, the 1913 open car has its own door hinge. This is the more common 1914 through 25 open car door hinge, and in construction they're identical. The only thing is the dimensions are different. The 13 is taller. These hinges, they're a little different in height, and both of them stick out further from the mounting point. So there's a few options I have. One is I can either scratch build an entire set of hinges for this, which I really don't want to do, is I have no idea how I'd make this, but I could if I had to, I guess. Another option is I can just use the later door hinges, the 14 through 25, because these are extremely available. I bought this one for $1, and they're available new. You can buy them all day long. Now, if I did that, obviously the notches for the hinges would be in a different location, and that would mean I would have to modify the rear doors to fit these, which I don't really care about right now, because at this point, now that I know how to make the doors, I might just make the rear doors new also. Because at this point, that would probably be less effort for me than to restore the old ones. The third option would be if I could find a steel hinge of some kind that's dimensionally the same as the 13, that looks the same, I could get two of them and then just make the piece that goes between them, just weld the whole thing together. Now, if you're wondering, you can't really modify a 14 and newer hinge to be a 13 because, like I said, they're taller. Now, if you just cut this one off and raise it up, the problem is this line is at an angle. The pivotal point is straight up and down. If you raise this up, then this pivotal point will be further out than this one. The lower hinge will have to be cut out and moved further out, which both would have to be anyway because the mounting point is further in on a 13 hinge. And also, like I said, the height is a little different on the hinges, and the mounting holes are in different locations. If you got to do that much work, you're pretty much better off just starting from scratch. So that's as far as I'm going to go right now. When I figure out a solution, I'll let you know. So that's as far as I can go for now on this. I planned on starting to make the quarter panels in this video. The problem is I don't have the rear fenders that I plan to use permanently, and I can't fit panels that I don't have. I plan to buy a set of new reproduction ones because the fronts are already new, and at the moment I can't afford that. Not sure when I'll be able to, so pretty much the whole back of the body's on hold for now. My next plan is to start with the structure. First, the wood sills, which they're these wood beams that run lengthwise of the body, one on each side. And once I have those, I can start making the front seat assembly, and I'll be able to nail the panels on. I'll get the front door to start working, and I can make the front seat back. Pretty much everything on the body from here forward. And hopefully by the time I'm done with that, I'll be able to get a set of rear fenders. Now, when the next video is going to happen, I'm not sure, but it's probably going to take quite some time, as I got a lot of research to do and a lot of stuff to get and stuff. So, thank you for watching.